There are cars sitting in driveways right now with 300,000 miles on them that have never had a major repair. Meanwhile, some of you are on your third transmission before you hit 100,000. That's not bad luck. That's buying the wrong car. In over 2 decades of turning wrenches, I've seen patterns you can't ignore. Certain cars just refuse to die. And what's wild is that some of the most reliable vehicles on the road aren't the ones getting all the attention. The cars I'm about to show you? Dealerships hate when I talk about these because there's nothing to upsell. No extended warranties needed. No preventative repairs that magically cost $2,000. Today I'm giving you 7 cars that run so long, so reliably, that they'll make your mechanic wonder if you're ever coming back. And number 3 on this list? That one's the sleeper pick that nobody talks about, but I've seen them rolling with 500,000 miles still running on the original engine. Stick around to the end because the number 1 pick is the one car I'd buy tomorrow if I needed something that would outlast me. But first, let's start with number 7. Number 7, the Toyota 4Runner. This thing is a tank disguised as an SUV. I had a customer bring one in last month with 287,000 miles on it. You know what he needed? An oil change. That's it. The frame was solid, the drivetrain was tight, and that 4.0-liter V6 was purring like it just rolled off the assembly line. Here's why the 4Runner belongs on this list. Toyota kept it simple. Body-on-frame construction. A naturally aspirated engine with no turbo to fail. A traditional automatic transmission that doesn't try to be too smart for its own good. When manufacturers chase fuel economy and pack in complicated technology, reliability takes a hit. Toyota looked at the 4Runner and said, if it's not broken, don't fix it. The common repairs I see? Honestly, not much. Maybe a water pump around 150,000 miles, that's a $400 to $600 job. Timing chain instead of a belt, so you're not dealing with that expensive replacement every 90,000 miles. The biggest issue I see is rust on older models in northern states, but that's not a mechanical failure, that's chemistry. If you want an SUV that'll take you to 300,000 miles without drama, the 4Runner should be on your radar. But if you think that's impressive, wait until you hear about number 6. Number 6, the Honda Accord. I've lost count of how many Accords I've seen cross 200,000 miles with nothing but basic maintenance. Oil changes, brake pads, tires. That's the whole list for some of these cars. A guy came into my shop 2 years ago with a 2007 Accord. 340,000 miles. Original engine, original transmission. He wanted me to check it over because he was giving it to his daughter for college. I put it on the lift expecting to find something, anything, that needed attention. The suspension was tight. No leaks. The compression test came back strong on all 4 cylinders. I told him to change the oil and drive it another 100,000. The Accord works because Honda engineers it for longevity, not for a good first impression on a test drive. The K-Series 4-cylinder engines are bulletproof if you keep oil in them. The transmissions, especially the manuals, go forever. Even the automatics, once Honda sorted out their issues in the early 2000s, became rock solid. Now, I will say this. If you're looking at V6 Accords from 2003 to 2007, those had some transmission problems. Honda used a different unit, and they weren't as durable. But the 4-cylinder models? Almost nothing stops them. Your biggest expense with a high-mileage Accord is probably going to be a timing belt and water pump service around 100,000 miles. That runs $800 to $1,200 depending on where you go. But here's the thing. That's scheduled maintenance, not a repair. You know it's coming, you budget for it, and then you drive another 100,000 miles. Now here's one that surprises people because they assume luxury means problems. Number 5. The Lexus LS 400 and LS 430. I know what you're thinking. A luxury car on a reliability list? But hear me out. The Lexus LS is a Toyota in a tuxedo, and Toyota built these things like they were apologizing in advance for any possible problem. The LS 400 came out in 1990 and embarrassed every German luxury sedan on the market. Not because it was faster or flashier, but because you could drive it 200,000 miles and the only thing you'd replace was wear items. BMW and Mercedes owners were doing $3,000 repairs while LS owners were changing brake pads. I had an LS 430 come through my shop with 425,000 miles. The original 4.3-liter V8 was still running strong. No oil consumption issues. No timing chain rattle. The transmission shifted smoothly. This car was old enough to vote and still drove like it had 50,000 miles on it. The secret is that Toyota over-engineered everything. The 1UZ-FE and 3UZ-FE V8 engines in these cars are considered some of the most reliable engines ever built. And they dropped them into a full-size luxury sedan with air suspension and every comfort feature you could want. Now, you will deal with some age-related stuff on these. The air suspension can get expensive if the bags fail, anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 to fix depending on how many corners need work. But you can convert it to traditional coil springs for around $600 if you don't mind losing some ride quality. Other than that, just maintain it and it'll outlive your other cars. The Lexus LS is what happens when a manufacturer decides reliability is more important than scheduled obsolescence. And hey, if you're finding this kind of straight talk useful, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I've got more videos coming where I break down what manufacturers don't want you to know, and I don't want you to miss them. Alright, number 4 is the car that probably doesn't surprise you, but the numbers behind it might. Number 4, the Toyota Camry. This is the car that made Toyota's reputation. Walk into any shop in America and ask the mechanics which car gives them the least amount of work. Most of them will say the Camry. It's boring, it's everywhere, and it absolutely refuses to break. The numbers back this up. There are more Camrys with over 200,000 miles still on the road than almost any other sedan. And it's not because people baby them. These are commuter cars that get driven hard, sit in traffic, and rack up miles fast. And they just keep going. I just worked on a 2012 Camry last week. 189,000 miles. The customer thought something was wrong because the car had been running too good for too long. She wanted me to do a full inspection to find whatever was about to fail. You know what I found? Nothing. Front brakes had another 20,000 miles on them. The suspension was tight. No leaks, no codes, no drama. I told her to come back at 200,000 and we'd check it again. The 2.5-liter four-cylinder in newer Camrys is incredibly efficient and durable. The hybrid versions are even more reliable because they put less stress on the gas engine. And the transmission? Toyota's been refining that thing for decades. Common repairs? Honestly, the biggest issues I see are water pumps that start weeping around 150,000 miles, maybe $350 to $500 to replace. Some models have a slight oil consumption issue, but it's minor and manageable. That's it. When people ask me what car to buy for a teenager or a new driver, I say Camry every single time. Not because it's exciting, but because it's still going to be running when they're ready to upgrade. But if you want something more fun to drive that still belongs on this list, number 3 is going to catch your attention. Number 3, the Honda Civic. This is the sleeper pick I mentioned earlier. The Civic has been around since the 1970s, and Honda has spent 50 years perfecting it. The result is a compact car that routinely hits 300,000 miles with nothing but basic maintenance. I worked at a dealership for a while, and I almost got in trouble for telling customers the truth about these things. A lady came in wanting to trade her 2006 Civic with 180,000 miles for something newer. The sales team was pushing her toward a new car with a $400 monthly payment. I pulled her aside and said, "That Civic has another 100,000 miles in it easily. Save your money." Management wasn't happy, but I wasn't wrong. The D-Series and K-Series engines in Civics are legendary. Simple design, easy to work on, and they just don't quit. I've seen Civics with over 400,000 miles still being used as daily drivers. Not garage queens, not rebuilt, just maintained and driven. The key is that Honda didn't overcomplicate these cars. Manual transmissions that are almost impossible to kill. Automatic transmissions that are simple and robust. Suspension that's straightforward to maintain. There's nothing exotic to fail, nothing expensive to replace. Your maintenance costs on a Civic are laughably low. Timing belt service on older models, maybe $600 to $900. Clutch replacement on a manual, around $800 to $1,200 if you ever need it. Most people don't. Compare that to a German compact car where a basic brake job costs more than a Civic needs in a year, and you see why these things are everywhere. If you want a car that'll cost you almost nothing to own for 15 years, the Civic is hard to beat. Now, number 2 is the car that rewrote the rules for what a daily driver could do. Number 2, the Toyota Corolla. This is the best-selling car in history, and there's a reason for that. The Corolla is proof that you don't need fancy engineering to build something that lasts. You just need to do the basics extremely well over and over again, for decades. There are more Corollas with over 300,000 miles still running than any other car on Earth. That's not marketing hype, that's just data. These things are used as taxis in countries where vehicles get driven into the ground, and they survive. One of my favorite shop stories involves a 1998 Corolla. Customers bought it with 95,000 miles and drove it for 17 years. When he finally brought it to me, it had 380,000 miles and he only stopped because his wife refused to be seen in it anymore. The car still ran perfectly. I told him to donate it to a driving school because it had plenty of life left. The Corolla works because Toyota stripped away everything that could fail. The engines are understressed, meaning they're not working hard even at highway speeds. The transmissions are proven designs with millions of miles of real-world testing. The electronics are simple and durable. Common problems? There aren't many. Oil changes, tire rotations, brakes every 50,000 miles or so. Maybe an alternator around 200,000 miles for $300 to $400. That's the whole list. If reliability is your only criteria, the Corolla is probably the safest bet on the market. Has been for 30 years. Alright. Number 1. This is the one I'd buy if I wanted a car that would run for the rest of my life. And I mean that literally. Number 1. The Toyota Land Cruiser. This isn't just a reliable car. This is a vehicle that's been trusted to cross deserts, survive war zones, and keep running when everything else has failed. The Land Cruiser is the gold standard for durability, and nothing else comes close. I've seen Land Cruisers with 400,000, 500,000, even 600,000 miles that are still running on original engines and transmissions. Not rebuilt. Original. The 1FZFE and 2UZFE engines in these trucks are massively overbuilt. Toyota designed them to handle the worst conditions on the planet, then sold them to suburban families who drive them to soccer practice. A customer of mine has a 2006 Land Cruiser with 340,000 miles on it. His total repair cost in the last 5 years? A starter motor and a power steering pump. That's around $700 combined. For 5 years. Compare that to a Range Rover or a German SUV where you're looking at $3,000 repairs annually, and the Land Cruiser looks like a bargain even with its high sticker price. The build quality on these trucks is insane. Body-on-frame construction that's designed for abuse. Full-time four-wheel drive with a 2-speed transfer case. Solid front and rear axles on older models that are nearly indestructible. Everything is built heavier and stronger than it needs to be. Now, I'll be honest. Land Cruisers aren't cheap to buy. Even used ones hold their value like crazy because everyone knows how reliable they are. A 15-year-old Land Cruiser with 150,000 miles might still cost $25,000 or more. But that's because these things last so long that people don't sell them. When one hits the market, buyers fight over it. If you can find one that's been maintained, buy it. You might never need another vehicle. So there you have it. 7 cars that go the distance while other vehicles are falling apart. The Toyota 4Runner, Honda Accord, Lexus LS, Toyota Camry, Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla, and the legendary Land Cruiser. The pattern is clear. Simple engineering, proven designs, and manufacturers who prioritize longevity over gadgets. These aren't the flashiest cars on the road, but they're the ones still running when everything else is in the junkyard. Now that you know what lasts, you need to know what to actually buy when you're shopping. I put together a video on 5 affordable, reliable SUVs that most people completely overlook. Great options that won't break the bank and won't break down. The link is right here on screen. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.